Hey everyone, it's September 11th, and that means that if today's your birthday, you share it with likely serial killer Marybeth Tinning, who was convicted of murdering one of her own children and is widely considered to have done the same to as many as 8 others. And that is her right up there. Tinning was born in upstate New York in 1942, with her father getting shipped off to war during infancy and her mother working to support the young family. She had a younger brother, and the two kids were often sent to stay with relatives due to their parents being too busy to take care of them. Her father came home after the war, and as an adult, she later claimed that he was physically abusive, hitting the children and locking them in a closet when they misbehaved, though that may have just been a plea for sympathy. She had multiple suicide attempts while in high school, which were a cry for help that unfortunately went ignored, and she eventually settled into working as a nurse's assistant. In 1963, she was set up on a blind date with Joseph Tinning, who would become her husband 2 years later. They had the first of their 9 children in 1967, with more coming in quick succession. Birth control had been legal in pill form in the U.S. since 1960 and was affirmed by the Supreme Court in 1965, but apparently they didn't get the memo. Their children were experiencing health problems, with her third child dying in 1971, just a few weeks after her birth. She was diagnosed with a case of meningitis that had developed in utero, and that may actually be the real reason the child died. 2 weeks later, Tinning rushed her 2-year-old son to the emergency room, claiming he had choked during a seizure, and the boy was able to be stabilized and released. But a few hours after he got out, she brought the boy back, this time dead on arrival, with doctors believing it was a tragic outcome due to a heart problem. A few months later, her 5-year-old daughter was rushed to the hospital, dying there of what doctors believed at the time to be a brain disease. This continued on as she bore more children and adopted one, with them all eventually dying. In 1974, her husband was admitted to the hospital with barbiturate poisoning, and Tinning admitted to having laced his grape juice with crushed up pills after a fight, but no charges were pressed. When her adopted son died in 1981, the authorities finally took notice, since previously every effort had been made to figure out a genetic cause for the deaths, and obviously that couldn't be the case for the boy. In 1985, after 8 previous children had died, she had a 9th, who died at just 4 months old. This time the police got involved and they determined that the baby had been smothered, which cast doubt on her previous children being chalked up as cases of SIDS or other natural causes. Under questioning, Tinning confessed to murdering at least 3 of her children, though later recanted and said that she had been threatened into giving that statement. At trial, she was convicted of second-degree murder for the last death, but no charges were filed for the rest of the dead kids. She was sentenced to life with a chance of parole after 20 years and ended up spending the next 31 years behind bars, with her steadfast husband picking his 76-year-old wife up in 2018 when she was released. Tinning's story has been featured on numerous TV shows, including Deadly Women on Investigation Discovery and Autopsy on HBO. It's reminiscent of the case of Juanita Hoyt, who you can learn more about by scrolling down to May 13th. And if you need a babysitter in Schenectady, New York, Tinning is probably available. If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone whose birthday it is today, send them this video so I can find out all about their birthday twin. And to Marybeth Tinning, I say, happy birthday, you bastard.